Hello, Briskin here, back with CDs a lot. It's been a couple months since I made a video about them. My car, my car got fixed. Went out to buy some CDs. Waited, waited a few times until I get a lot of stuff. Also, I was like, I will make a video, and never did. But still making it now. So first off. Slayer, Season of the Abyss. I know a lot of people love this album. It's considered to be probably one of Slayer's best albums. At the Red and Blood, because this one has much of everything they've been doing up to this point. Which is with Winning Blood and South of Heaven. With the fast tempos, with the a little bit more slower songs. Throughout the '90s release of the Slayer album, like I said, it's probably my favorite. Consider that '90s Slayer with look at that artwork. '90s Slayer is probably not the best era of Slayer. I mean, right after this is where we got like the covers album of punk songs, and then after that we got like this album's uh, Diablo's Bisica. You yeah, it's a pretty rough period, but hey, I mean, Season of Piss, 1991, a great album, love it. There's not really one. It's an album I go back to over and over again, but I love War Assemble, of course. That's probably one of their album's greatest songs. Temptation, I love. Season Abyss, of course, I love that one. But other stuff, yeah, this is not an album I really go to a lot, and so yeah, good album. And then next is gonna be Anthrax. Presses and Time came out probably the same year, 1990. Um, this album's actually really good. What when I was listening to Anthrax around this time period, this is right after their third album, State of Effloria, Imploria, something like that. I can't pronounce it. It's upside down. There we go. And I wasn't really excited to listen to this album because I don't really like that album on their third or fourth release. And then when I listened to it, I was like, "Hey, this is actually pretty good. This is of course the album. This is the last album with Joey until he comes back. But this is after this album they went to with a different singer, which is John Bush. They went to more of an alternative metal type of feeling, which is probably not a good era. With Anthrax, I mean, they had some outright songs, but that era was just. Would you rather have, like the thrash metal Anthrax or the alternative metal Anthrax? But there's some, so like in the songs I really like in this time, got the time and got the time. Keeping It in the Family, Belly of the Shark, 178. Dude, I love the bass line. There's like, it's really simple to play, but I really love it. So good album, love it. And one of the So when I was doing uh the big four metal dash bands, I went to last time it was 80s. This time is 90s. And of course when you talk about the greatest 90s albums of Metallica, it's just like it's pretty harsh because it's like Slayer, Anthrax, and Metallica went through a big change, and it may be probably for the worst. So it was literally this album or the Load albums, and of course I'm talking about the Black Album, one of the best selling metal albums of all time. This one has been a really big departure of Metallica's sound, and this more focus on commercial. Yeah. This is probably the first Metallica album I actually listened to. I guess who these are. I'm gonna say this is James Hetfield. This is probably looks like Lars, Kurt Hammett, and Jason Newsted. And then this album was probably one of the biggest albums. It's the greatest album. One of the best selling albums. Well, if it's great enough, is obviously based on opinion. In my opinion, it's not my favorite Metallica album. I already talked about my favorite Metallica album, which is Ride the Lightning. But this one still has some good tracks. Obviously, Enter Sandman. That's a Metallica song that everyone knows. Sabbath True, Hold It Out. I mean, I love a lot of the songs in this one, but it's not my favorite. Turns the song right, Unforgiven. Whatever, Don't Tread on Me, Don't Tread on Me. Nothing Else Matters, of course. That song, Wolf of Man. Friend of Misery, which is it's really I've been trying to learn that song in bass. Can't really get the timing right, but I'll get there. But hey, it's a good album. It's overrated, sure. I mean, it's Metallica was a big band back in the '80s, so I guess it makes sense why this album became the way it is. But throughout all the big four fans, there's only one band that actually had a good consistent release throughout the '90s, and that is Megadeth. This is the Rest in Peace album. I know this is after this album they went to more of a heavy metal instead of a thrash metal. This is the only thrash metal release in the '90s. Um, but the Megadeth '90s catalog is still really good. Because after this album was Countdown, Extinction, and Euthanasia, which is those albums are still really good. Critic Writing was alright, and Risk. Well, it's not as bad as Super Collider. They just put us that. When the Super Collider came out, like in the 2010s, of course the CD broke, so that's a big bro moment. But hey, you know, Rest in Peace is probably debated one of the probably the greatest Megadeth album. I know like some people might be like, oh no, it's kind of overrated. This is actually my favorite Megadeth album. With probably the most stable and consistent lineup, with Marty Freeman, Mick, I forgot his last name. There's Dave Mustaine, David Elson. There's the rest boys. Dave Mustaine, Mick, David, and Marty Freeman. This Mick and Marty. Uh, some good band photos around that era. Lasted until I think like until Risk. Yeah, Risk pretty much broke up the band, and I think Nick stayed in World Needs a Hero. But I don't know sure, but yeah, Holy Wars, argue with the best Megadeth song. Anger 18, Take No Prisoners, Tornado Souls. I kind of stuck in my head. Rest in Peace. There's obviously like some tracks that I don't really listen to, like Five Magics, Poison Was Secure, and still really good album, one of my favorites. So yeah, those are my favorite '90s of thrash metal big four bands, metal albums. So let's go on to talk about other bands, such as Dirt and Grey. This is their third release. Kiss Kaiso. I do not know how to pronounce this. This um, I said back then that Macabre is probably the most grungiest albums they ever made in their catalog. This one's probably towards like they're getting more into what they are around this era. No death metal yet. No, not that yet. That comes a little more later. But this is an interesting album. It's really experimental. It's probably the most experimental album. It's probably not my favorite Jordan Gray album, but there's some awesome songs. Obviously there's some pictures of the bandmates. This part of the Visual K movement. So appearance is everything. Did I just mess everything up? Yes, I did. Oh well. Oh yeah, this album has some interludes. And all right, I guess. Yeah, there's man, they're great. You still have like Garfield bugs back then. Yeah, I try to show you all the artwork that comes in this book, especially when events like this, because I don't know, man, I can imagine like they don't show up all the time, especially with this. I was like this one that doesn't really have any AUS release. This album has some really good tracks. Here, it's really hard to see that. All right, Japanese words. I need from my memory, Zombie Zord, the first track, Kereng, four cylinder, fell bottom of Death Melt. There's a lot of long tracks, and I think I said it before that I don't really like slow long tracks of Dirty Grade. This album has some really good ones. I love Embryo, four 24 cylinder, as I said. On the side is pretty boring. There's another one. I don't remember its name. Oh, Painkiller is pretty good. There's that one weird. It was like I don't know. Yeah, it's still a good album. Check it out. And speaking of Dirty Gray, we got another one, and this is their EP, Six Ugly. It's an EP they released right after Kaiso, or pronounced, and Vulgar. And this actually fits more around Vulgar. If I could take out the book. This one has a really weird book because it has some like I don't really like this. I don't really like the whole tire aesthetic that they're going with. This, I guess, it's more of a comic book feel, like with the classic monsters. This EP is very solid. Uh, I throughout I listen. The only Derek Gray EP I already listened to, is this one and Unraveling, and this one actually has new tracks. Unraveling doesn't have like one track, and there's the first EP, Miss Misa, something like that. I haven't listened to that yet because it's not available on Spotify, and I had to take time to listen on YouTube. But Mr. Looseman, Ugly, Hades, Umbrella, Children, Bite. I don't know. It's Japanese. I can't read Japanese. But I say Umbrella and Mr. Newsman's probably the greatest songs in this EP. And it's still really cool. Nice, solid EP. God, it was my collection. Now let's go back to Blue Oyster's Cult. I love Blue Oyster's Cult. The I had that was before I had this was Secret Cheaties. Well, I say it's probably an underrated album. And then Fire of Unknown Origin, which is really about the album for Joan Crawford. But this one has some really good tracks. It's their first album. If you know Blues Oyster's Cult, if I got the story, text, I'm fucking read. You want me to read? What? Okay, I'm not familiar with their names. I just know that Buck and that's Eric. And I believe that's Alan. Rest in peace, Alan. This is their first album. It's not their first attempt on an album. They have tried to record an album, but it was never released because reasons I don't remember. But this is more of their more psychedelic rock songs. It's not really much of a heavy metal. There's some heavy metal in here, like Transmania Con MC. Of course, City on Flames with rock and roll. Yeah, I mean, there's some weird songs in here that you probably, if you're familiar with Blue Oyster Cult, you might go back to this and just like it's like a completely different band. Like songs like Scream. Um, then came The Last Day of May. I know Hammer. She probably one of the funniest on titles. She's as beautiful of a foot. So solid album. And then they follow up with this one, Tyranny and Mutation. Mutation. I think that's what it's pronounced. That's probably one of my most forgettable Blue Oyster's Cult because it's probably not the one I go to a lot. Um, it's still a really good album though. Even though I just said I'll go back to this one. This is a weird. This is a weird album because I think they had two sides that's called Black and the other side was Red. And obviously, this is a CD and it's made differently. So there's no sides. It's just play all at once. The Blue Oyster Cult symbol, and so a started album. I love O&D Unlock Himself, Hot Wheels and Hell. Seven Screens is a really long song, but it's still solid. There's that one Lemon song. Oh yeah, right here, Lemon Quick song. Lemon Quick Grill. So yeah, still a solid album, even though I say I don't go to it a lot. And then I don't remember what albums I said in other videos, but screw it. I'm talking about this one and these two just in case. Fallen Short, The Unlikely in Advance. It's not my favorite Fallen Short album. I bought this because it was kind of cheap. It was cheap. I think it was like around $9. But yeah, this book is weird. It's one of those weird books. This is when they try to make more commercial rock tunes. Probably not. Oh yeah, and they had a different bass player too. Yeah, there they are. Thomas. I don't remember their names. Thomas. I know Thomas Frank and don't remember his name. Probably credit somewhere in this book. You want rocking that 70s mustache. Anything here? No. Okay, whatever. Um, there's some songs I do love in this album, regardless of how I feel about this album. I love Nobody's Perfect. That song is genius. Uh, Singles is pretty good. To me, Singles kind of sounds like they're trying to make F FCPR remix again. Panic Attack, a classic case of transference. I don't know. There's some. Rebs, yeah, dirty pillow talk. Yep. But I'm really returning this album for Nobody's Perfect. That's pretty much it. Um, and one is Avatar, um, Salach. I'm not sure if I talk about this album, but in just in case, I'm talking about it again because I don't want to leave everything behind. This is before they had the black, with the all makeup and circus look. This is their second album. They were a complete different band. Kind of more of a metalcore-ish type of feeling. Uh, they had like a different guitarist. Um, you know, Corgan's. I can't remember his name, but the guy with the dreads, he's still in this one. After this album, they made the Dirt album, which is not my favorite, and then after that, they went to Black Waltz, and that's when the whole they go into this makeup. But I love this album. It's probably one of the greatest non-makeup era uh album. I probably love every single song. I Still Hate You is probably the most edgy, like the most angsty song they ever wrote. All Hail the King, the title track, Wildfire, 4 a.m. Breakdown. Oh, Letters from Never End. According to Spotify, that's my most listened song in 2020. Solid album, and if you don't care about pre-order Avatar, I say at least try this one out. And then we got Slipknot. All Hope Is Gone. Probably the first Slipknot album I ever saw. My sister, I remember she bought this back in the day. I remember watching the Psychosocial video on MTV, and yeah, this album is pretty polarizing in terms of the Slipknot community. It's neither you hate the songs or you love the songs or you find the songs alright. It's never just there's never a section of Iowa really good. It's more just like it's alright. Um, Even like sometimes in the band members even say this is probably their worst album, which is I don't think it's fair to say. Actually, there's been a long time that I'm a great defender of this album, but more and more I listen to, I'm just like, yeah, I get it. I get why people don't like this CD. Uh, if that being said, Gematria, still one of the greatest songs that they're never gonna play live because it's too long. And then Sulfur. We get no. This is one of those albums like the singles, probably like the first couple songs. Sulfur, Psychosocial, Dead Memories, Vendetta. Vendetta's not a single, but Mandela is a good song. Butcher's Hook is extremely weird, and Gehenna, so it's weird. This Cold Black, kind of not. Oh, that one's like dun 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 dun. Yeah, I love that song. And then Where the Lies Begin, it's kind of also Yeah, I don't like Snuff. I know a lot of people love Snuff. I don't like it. It's too slow, too badly. Something I don't want to hear from Slipknot. And then we got All Hope Is Gone, the title track. I said it's probably my least favorite Slipknot album. I definitely love Iowa more than this. It debuted. I'm gonna have to think about that one. No, I don't want. Is I this band show up in my I was remember I was listening to Cannibal Corpse and then like Spotify after the album usually they'll put like random songs right after it, and then this band show up. It wasn't from this album, but I love this album so much, and I just got hooked. And as obviously I'm talking about Cryptopsy, none so vile. This is obviously a re-release CD. The song was from Best Way Made Flesh. Yeah, but this I love Cryptopsy so much. I even listen to like the oh yeah, the drummer just worship him, freaking insane. Oh, of course we got Eric, the bass player, insane, insane bass playing. This album is just so crazy. Lord Worm himself, and I guess John. They have French last names. They are a Canadian band, so um yeah. Wait, I, I could have sworn there was a different guitarist, but oh well. But John, he killed it. Then he really killed it. Fucking slay it. He slayed his album. All four of them fucking made the most insane album I ever listened to. I love every single song in this album. Of course, Set Your Guts and Phobophile, probably the tracks that people know them. Also, Graves of Father of the Father, Crowns of the Horns, and my favorite, I always going back to is the last one, Organic Disembowelment. Man, I love this album so much. Even the Lord Worm albums, I actually love those. Except for, and then you're big. I hate the vocals in that album, but the Matt era, I still love the Matt era. But yeah, Cryptopsy, I love this album so much. You need to listen to it if you haven't listened to. Even though you don't really like death metal, you need to listen to it. But yes, go and after talking about Cryptopsy, um, Nine Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. I love Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails is probably one of my favorite bands. Um, Worship Trent Reznor. Uh, Obviously, it's re-release with all this cardboard. You know, I hear that Trent Reznor went to a bit of issue of releasing this album, and glad he was able to get the right to, because of the label at the time that he was with. But I know everyone is in love with this album, as probably saying this is one of Nine Inch Nails' greatest album. Right next to Downward Spiral, which I need to get that album. I loved I love songs in here. Terrible Lie, um, Head Like a Hole, Sin, Something I Could Never Had, Only Time, The Ring Finger. I don't like two songs in this. I say it's probably one of the worst Nine Inch Nails songs. It's kind of I don't want to, and that's what I get. Those songs sucks. Those songs terrible. If you love those songs, then I'm sorry. Those songs is terrible. Kind of I want to. Trent Reznor even have trouble even writing that song because he couldn't agree what the song should even sound like, and it looks like we're just slapping here because maybe he needed to fill time. Although it's regardless one of the classic albums, I think it's kind of maybe overrated. It's hard to say that when songs like Terrible Lie, Down Inside, Sanctified is in this album. Well, it's not really overrated. I just feel like maybe it gets too much love. Then, right after that, Broken. Nine Inch Nails Broken. And this is the EP Trent Reznor made. It was, uh, look at this. uh, this is EP Trent Reznor made, right after the first one. I guess he didn't want to make another commercial acceptable album. So he was like, "Know what? I'm gonna give you guys the finger and make an album, a metal album," and which is in here. Although there's 6 tracks listed, there's actually 8. Opinion, Last, Help Me, I'm in the Hell, Happiness to Savory, Gave Up. Also, Physical is in here, and Suck. I love those. Gotta say, this album probably did not age well production wise. Production in this album is really rough. Um, but I love Happiness to Savory, Wish and Suck. That's probably the songs I go to back in this EP. Solid, it's worth the hype, I guess. And then we talked about who's also called Black Sabbath. Um, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Everybody Sabbath. I used to really love this album too, so much. After a couple re-listens, I just found it to be okay. I found it to be kind of weird. I get this is back when Tony Iommi had Writer's Block, and the band kind of needed him to write songs. Anyways, Field Ward, Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler. Um, I, I, I love Black Sabbath. Bloody Black Sabbath, the title track, is probably one of the greatest Black Sabbath album songs ever. There's a so